I am back. It's me in a new location. I figured, why not liven everything up everything? You can see my Legos right there. You see those? You see those? Yes. So, anyways, today, since we last time talked about what I thought Doctor Who, yeah, it didn't do so well sometimes. I counted down the top 5 worst episodes. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the best episodes from the new generation. So, from everything from 2005 to 2014. And basically, I'm going to be counting down what I think of the best from Doctor Who from that time period. You might disagree with me, but opinions differ. So, that said, let's begin. EB's top 5 best new Doctor Who stories. Number 5, The 11th Hour. A lot of people, especially if they think Stephen Moffat is not a good writer to be replacing Russell T Davies, will be disagreeing with this. But let me just say, I love this story, and I think Stephen Moffat is superior to Russell T Davies, although I will do a separate video on that, and I'll probably get tons of hate for saying that, but it's just my opinion. As I was saying, this story is awesome. The aliens in it look awesome. The actors do an amazing job. Stephen Moffat did a really good job with this story. There are problems, don't get me wrong. But it's still an awesome story. The 11th Doctor, what an introduction for the Doctor, a new incarnation of the Doctor. Seriously. The scene where he has to try to pick out different foods, hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing with that. It's just an awesome scene. It's funny, probably one of the best that Doctor Who has to offer overall, and amazing. The new TARDIS design that was introduced in it, it was pretty cool. I like the orange TARDIS interior. The thing is, I can't pick a favorite TARDIS interior because there's just so many that it's impossible for me to pick which one is my favorite. Which TARDIS interior do I pick as my number 1 favorite of all time? I don't know, but it's not easy to pick this kind of stuff out. When it comes to lists like this, you have to think. I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry. So, number 4, Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. This is yet another Stephen Moffat script, and it's a 2-part story. So, this has David Tennant playing the role of the Doctor. Now, what do I think of the story? Pretty good. Is it scary? Yeah, that's debatable. I was never really scared with Doctor Who stories to begin with. That doesn't mean... if you are scared by Doctor Who stories, I can see where you're coming from that. I'm not saying, like, you're a wuss for thinking it's scary. I can see where you're coming from when you say it's scary. I just personally didn't find it scary for a number of reasons. I'll talk about it in a later video. But, as of right now, let us begin with talking about the story. So, interesting concept. The largest library in the universe, planet-sized. Awesome concept right there. And the Vashta-Narada, how they're like little piranhas in the air, like, they'll eat you. There's shadows. As shadows, you can't get away from them. So, the fact that there are shadows, there's a shadow on this notebook I have where I wrote down my list on it right now. That could be Vashta-Narada plotting to eat me. That's a scary thought. That's why I kind of get where the scariness from that people fear from Doctor Who is coming from, because of the way that it uses horror properly. Like, it messes with your head. It doesn't just show graphic images, it messes with your head, which is like what I like best from horror. There's a Lego underneath this book right here on myself. I'm getting distracted again. So, the story's pretty good. It can be confusing at times. I know I was watching this with my brother, and my mom was on the couch watching it too, and she said she didn't get it and that it was confusing to her, and I could see where she's coming from that. So, basically, if you have not seen this story, watch it. I might review it, actually. I might make a review for Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. Only time will tell. Okay. Number 3, Human Nature and Family of Blood. Another David Tennant story. Another 2-part story. And guess what? Just as awesome. We have the Doctor wiping his memory, so he's now a human, technically. And he basically has his plan. There are these things trying to steal the rest of the Doctor's lives. and he hides in a country before World War II. Even no, well, not World War II. World War I starts, and the Doctor has to hide there for 3 months, and everything was going according to plan until the aliens find them. The Doctor falls in love with the human, and yeah, everything goes crazy. The Doctor, he doesn't know how to fix the situation. The best he can do is pick up a gun and tell other kids to pick up guns and fire back at the enemy. That happens in the episode. That's not the Doctor's style, really. Hold on, I'm readjusting this so that I can see myself. Hello! So, because it's just an awesome story. And then the ending, how the Doctor punishes the villains. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but let me just say, the way the Doctor punishes the villains at the ending of the episode is just so awesome. It just shows how the Doctor works. And it's like such a short sequence. It's an awesome sequence, don't get me wrong. I might leave a link to a video of it in the description so you can see what I'm talking about. But it's just amazing. And the ending where one of the side characters, the Doctor, gets to see him again. That was amazing. That was beautiful. It was just, wow. You probably know what I'm talking about again. If you've seen this story. If you haven't, then you have to watch it, but for those of you who know what I'm talking about, it was awesome. Seriously, that was one of the happiest moments in Doctor Who's history. Such a beautiful ending. And number 2, the Pandorica opens / the Big Bang. This is another good story. This one, I know this one confuses people. I can see where they come from it. But for me personally, I don't see why people are confused with Doctor Who, even though there's no reason to be. I guess I could somewhat see where they're coming from, but for me, it never really confused me at all. So the fact that someone comes by and says, "Oh, that was such a confusing story," I don't know what they're talking about. It wasn't really as confusing as people come out to put it out to be. But it was still a good story. We had an interesting concept, like the Pandorica, like how it's basically a knockoff of the Oh, crap, I'm yawning! It's like it's inspired by Pandorica's box from Greek or Roman mythology. One or the other. I can't remember which one. But anyways, as I was saying, a really great story, awesome ending. There's tons of stuff I liked about it. What is there that I could say? Oh my gosh, where do I start? Where do I start with listing off all the good things with this one? It's just so, I don't know where to start. I'm thinking. Wow. I guess. The first thing that pops in my head, I will list. The speech, where the Doctor is in the middle of the Stonehenge and he's telling everybody that there's no point of them trying to stop him. He stopped them before, and he will stop them now. I think the speech is somewhat overrated. Not too terribly much, though. I think it gets more attention than it deserves. But it's still a pretty cool speech. The setup with the Jotuns, that was pretty clever. Though the setup by the villains of the story, like how they tricked the Doctor, that was pretty clever. That takes time and effort to put into to make a story like that. When you do something like that, it really takes a lot of time and effort. That's not something that's really easy to do, but it's nice to see that there's some effort being put into it, like the thought process that went into how are these villains going to trick the Doctor into being trapped in this prison. And you can clearly see that it paid off here. And finally, number one. Number 1 is a tough one. There's tons of good stories to choose from. And the one that I chose before, when I did this list, I still like this story, but not a lot of people would agree with it. Now that I think about it, maybe it's not the best choice for number 1. So I had to go back and think, what do I want to put at number 1? So then I had to think for a while, which one of these would be the best for the number 1 story of Doctor Who in the New Generation. And finally, I came up with a decision. This story was originally an honorable mention, but now that I think about it, it deserves to be on the list. My opinion, the #1 best Doctor Who story in the new generation so far is Turn Left. This story it almost made me cry. Seriously, no, it made me cry. It made me cry. I like how the story it takes stories that have been told before, like as Doctor Who episodes from the past, and incorporates them into the story, in such a way, like a simple way, and everything changes from just one simple thing, turning left or right on a road. Do I turn left or right? That simple thing can change, like it could cause a huge course of events, and it really gets you thinking. Maybe if you do something that might seem simple and plain now, maybe it will have a huge outcome. Maybe something amazing or terrible will come out of it. And this episode really demonstrates that. Like, it's clever how it's put together, and it's a pretty dark story and kind of drastic. In fact, Mr. TARDIS, I remember him saying that it was mainly an adult story, and I could see that. There's like tons of things that it's just wow. I'm not a huge fan of Rose, but this is probably an episode where she's actually pretty tolerable, where she treats Donna pretty nicely, instead of other stories where she's just like a complete just like, oh, I was with the Doctor first, he liked me better, like what he did with Sarah Jane and other companions. This is one of the times where I actually could tolerate Rose because she was actually acting politely. Mostly because the story demanded it, but whatever. It was a good story, and probably debatable whether it's the best or not, but in my opinion, it is. And it's just awesome, seriously. Now that we've gotten with the normal list, let's do some honorable mentions. The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. Very scary, very original, and it just shows I'm glad Stephen Moffat wrote that story, because it shows he's worthy to being a part of Doctor Who. Let me see. Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways. Oh, wow. I mean, wow. It's epic. Epic. It's huge and epic. One of my favorite parts of the episode is the Ninth Doctor speech at the end of part 1. That was awesome. It's like, the Dalek's like, you had no weapons, no plan. He says, I know. And there's that scary to death. That's awesome. And then the next episode, he drives the TARDIS into a ship, and he's having missiles fired at him. And he doesn't care. He's flying towards him with missiles. Missiles coming towards the TARDIS. My God. The Christmas Invasion. Probably one of the only good Christmas specials next to The Time of the Doctor. What can I say about it? Killer Christmas trees. Sword fight on an asteroid. It was awesome, pretty epic, amazing. Amy's Choice, very unique, extremely unique. It dwells with dreams, Inception style. I haven't seen Inception, but I've heard a lot about it. Sorry. Really interesting concept. It's just wow, and my last honorable mention has to be Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. I know a lot of people might not agree with that being one of the best Doctor Who, but I like Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. I don't think it was perfect, but no, it's very rare that we see perfect pieces of media come out. There are even little nitpicks come out of something sometimes. That's just how life works. And Dinosaurs on a Spaceship was pretty cool. It was awesome. The controversial issue where the Doctor kills one of the characters at the end, I guess the villain deserved that. I guess he deserved to die. He was a terrible person. He killed people. He committed genocide. He killed a dinosaur. How dare you! This just tapped in with my inner child. All of us in kindergarten saying dinosaurs are awesome. This is what this episode has done, and I thank it for that. So, yeah. That is my top 5 list. Let me know, what are your personal favorite stories from Doctor Who and the New Generation? Or do you prefer the classic version? Let me know why you like them. So, I'll try to do something relating to classic Doctor Who. I will try to create a list. Okay? I will try. It won't be easy, but hey. So, tune in next week when I have that list completed, and goodbye.